bless us, everyone.
For movie theaters and showtimes, go to fathomevents.com.
Hi, I'm Robert Osborne, and I'm here once again with my co-host tonight and each Friday in primetime this month, writer Brent Phillips, who's just written a very comprehensive biography of the man who directed all the films we're showing tonight, the late Charles Walters. Welcome back, Brent.
Thank you very much.
Now, up next, we have a musical from 1948, the only teaming of two of the great movie icons of all time, Judy Garland and Fred Astaire. The movie is Irving Berlin's Easter Parade, done in 1948. Now, how did this come about for Chuck Walters?
He wasn't the original director on this. This was supposed to be Vincent Minnelli's musical. Vincent Minnelli and Judy Garland had just finished doing The Pirate. It was a troubled shoot, and Judy was going through some personal problems.
Now, they were married at this time.
They very much were.
Minnelli and Judy.
Yes,
okay.
Then they already had Liza.
Right, so they were working together all day and living together at night.
Exactly, and it wasn't the healthiest situation for probably for either of them. And basically, as Arthur Freed says, it was at Judy's doctor's recommendation that they shouldn't work together. And so Arthur Freed knew that Good News was going to be a hit, and it hadn't opened yet, but he basically called Chuck into his office and said, I'm going to give you Easter Parade. And for your stars are going to be Judy Garland and Gene Kelly, because it was Gene's film, too, at the beginning. And Chuck, you know, he couldn't believe it. He basically said he felt it was like going from playing the Bronx to the Palace Theater overnight. It was like basically he had just hit the jackpot, but he really couldn't believe that he was going to be directing those two.
So it was going to be Judy and Gene, Peter Lawford, and Sid Charisse.
And Sid Charisse,
right,
yes.
So what happened?
Injuries. Sid Charisse injured herself early on, and thankfully that brought Ann Miller to MGM. This was her first film for MGM, and what a remarkable debut. And she adored Chuck Walters. And same thing with Gene Kelly. He literally had been rehearsing the Steppin' Out With My Baby number on a Saturday. The following day was Sunday, MGM's day off. He was playing ball in his backyard, and he broke his ankle. So they had to find a replacement because the film was almost ready to begin. And they called Fred Astaire, who was in retirement, out of retirement, and he did it because he had always wanted to work with Judy Garland.
Right. This is one of those great happy accidents, I think, because, I mean, Gene Kelly was great with Judy Garland. Sid Charisse was always great.
Yes.
But Ann Miller adds a zest to this movie that Sid Charisse never quite had. That wasn't her style.
Exactly.
And having Fred Astaire with Judy Garland, you know, the elements in there are what make it work so well.
Right.
It's so unusual to see the two of them together.
Yeah, and it's funny because Chuck Walters, you know, the songs Irving Berlin, that's, you know, gave Fred Astaire Top Hat, White Tie, and Tails, gave him his signature song. He had done several films with Irving Berlin's music, and so that fit him better, and the story was perfect for the two of them, the sort of Pygmalion sort of coaching somebody to become a dancer. But then Chuck always said if you really watch the dances, they were created for Gene, so they didn't totally fit Fred. He didn't have that much time to tweak them to make them Fred Astaire. He said, except for the A Couple of Swells number. And he just said, you know, Fred and Judy as a couple of tattered tramps walking up the avenue, all he had to do was sit back and just turn the cameras on.
Well, it's a great movie. One of my favorite musicals of all, and sure yours as well.
Absolutely.
Let's see the movie. Here it is with a musical score of old and new songs by Irving Berlin, choreography by Robert Alton, from 1948, the second film directed by Charles Walters, Easter Parade.